Did you just diss my music career?
Wow, that's a surprisingly good workout.
No one's gonna understand you if you keep talking like that, man.
Welcome to the KSKP Game Changer segment. We've got a great show for you today.
I'm the one and only Gage, and here to my left is Aiden, whose music hardly ever gets played, just like the benchwarmers of the sport we're talking about today, soccer.
That's right, kids. Wait, did you just diss my music career?
Well, calling it a career is a bit of a stretch, ain't it? But anyways, speaking of stretching, it is very important to warm up before playing soccer or any other sports you play.
Seriously, bro?
You're right. You don't need to stretch when you're playing a game like Rocket League. And now, it's time for our super quick breakdown with our very own Coach C.
Coach C coming to you live with a super quick breakdown on soccer. Soccer is more commonly known as football in places like the United Kingdom. Professional football, or soccer as we know it, has been in England since the 1800s and became popular as clubs and leagues began to form all across Europe. The sport involves 2 opposing teams, each with 11 players, including 1 goalkeeper per side. Soccer is estimated to be played by over 250 million players across 200 countries worldwide and is watched by about 3.5 billion people. As the world's most popular sport, it's no surprise that soccer is often called the world's game.
Man, soccer's more popular than I realized.
Yeah, bruv, I love me a good game of footy.
What? I'm confused.
Let me guess, you don't quite understand. Just like you don't quite understand my music now, do ya?
Well...
Look, it's easy. We got the teamwork, the strong focus on passing, and most importantly, some impressive goals.
Right.
Alrighty then, what are we waiting for? Let's kick it over to our team on the pitch.
The pitch? No one's gonna understand you if you keep talking like that, man.
Any real footy fans sure will.
Anyways, we've got Hannah up next with some interviews out on the field.
It's called a pitch. Over to you, Hannah.
Thanks, guys. I'm out here today with soccer coach Fred El Paso and one of his star players. Just 1 year into coaching soccer, and Fred's already seeing some game-changing results. Let's take a look. Thanks for letting us join you today, Coach.
The pleasure's all mine.
So what would you say is the most important part of teamwork?
Well, you know what they say, there ain't no I in team.
Yes, I have heard that before.
And I say there ain't no I in try or best either.
Huh?
We just try our best to be a great team every game we play, and it seems to be working out pretty well for us so far.
It certainly does. So can you think of a time when you had to encourage one of your players to be more of a teammate?
Have you been watching some of our practices? Because that happens all the time.
Really?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we all just sit down and talk it out, because these guys know they can't do it all by themselves.
Great points as always, Coach. So now I heard a rumor that you guys are trying a new trick. Is that true?
That's right.
Well, the crew and I would love to try learning that new trick. Is that okay?
Well, that sounds better than a warm slice of Gam Gam's rhubarb pie. Yes, you can join us, little missy. The more the merrier.
All right, let's do it. Wow, that's a surprisingly good workout. Made me miss my old soccer days a bit. Back to you, Aiden and Gage.
Fred El Paso is such a game changer. Am I right?
Yep, just like how I'm a game-changing musician. But I gotta say, it is refreshing to see a coach like Fred so focused on teamwork.
Now that's true. And we've got a special guest up next to talk about more game-changing teamwork.
And this story of game-changing proportions comes straight from the Bible. Check this out.
Now, some of you might have heard of a dude named Moses. God used him to do a lot of really important things that we can read about in the Old Testament. Perhaps the most importantly, though, was when Moses helped rescue the Israelites from Egypt. God parted the Red Sea for them so that they could escape and travel to the Promised Land. But this search for the Promised Land took a long time, and the Israelites grew tired and weary. They were even attacked by different groups of people over the years. In this story we're looking at today, the people of Israel were attacked by the warriors of Amalek. Moses gave some important orders to Joshua, his successor, and listen to what Moses said. Choose some men to go out and fight the army of Amalek for us. Tomorrow I will stand at the top of the hill, holding the staff of God in my hand. So Joshua listened, and Moses held up the staff like he said he would. And as long as Moses had his arms up, the Israelites would continue to win. But the moment that Moses would lower his hands so the staff wasn't up in the air anymore, the Israelites would begin to lose. That must have put a lot of pressure on Moses to keep his hands up. How long do you think it would take before his arms got tired? Well, we've got Coach Fred El Paso ready to show us just that.
All right, kids, on the count of 3, you're gonna hold the ball over your head and we will put a clock over it to see how long you can last. Good luck, little amigos. On the count of 3. 1, 2, 3.
Thanks, Coach. See, that didn't take too long. So clearly, Moses needed to find a solution to this problem, and fast. Let's take a look at what happens next. Moses' arms soon became so tired, he could no longer hold them up. So Aaron and Hur found a stone for him to sit on. Then they stood on each side of Moses, holding up his hands. So his hands held steady until sunset.
Until sunset? Whoa!
Pretty crazy, right? But remember, Moses wasn't up on that hill alone. He took some very important teammates with him. And this turned out to be a game-changing move, because having help made it possible for Moses to keep his arms up for hours. And as a result, Joshua and his army won the battle and the Israelites were saved. This story teaches us the importance of teamwork and this valuable lesson. On God's team, players do their part. So watch our friends out in the field right now. Awesome. You see, if Moses or anyone else had been up on that hill all alone, the Israelites would not have won. Moses needed help. And even though Aaron and Hur may not have had the most exciting or glorious jobs, they had a super important part to play on this team. And the same is true for each of us on God's team. In fact, the Bible has a verse about that. The human body has many parts, but the many parts make up one whole body. So it is with the body of Christ. So this part of the Bible is comparing the different parts that make up the human body to God's team and all the different people on it. Let's read what comes after that. Yes, the body has many different parts, not just one part. If the foot says, I am not a part of the body because I am not a hand, that doesn't make it any less part of the body. And if the ear says, I am not part of the body because I am not an eye, would that make it any less part of the body? If the whole body were an eye, how would you hear? Or if the whole body were an ear, how would you smell anything? But our bodies have many parts, and God has put each part just where He wants it. How strange would a body be if it only had one part? Yes, there are many parts, but only one body. The eye can never say to the hand, I don't need you. The head can't say to the feet, I don't need you. In fact, some parts of the body that seem the weakest and least important are actually the most necessary. All the different parts of our body are so important, right? Our ears and our eyes, our hands and our feet are all important. Just like how God's team needs each of us exactly as we are. We're all different, and that's great because God made us that way. I want you to remember this last verse we're going to read. All of you together are Christ's body, and each of you is a part of it. So, we're all on a part of God's team, right? And we know that on God's team, players do their part. So what does doing your part look like? Well, first of all, you can remember to be a good teammate. In a soccer game, we pass the ball and stay ready for the ball when we're trying to be a good teammate. But in life, we can still work on being the best possible teammate to our parents, our siblings, our friends, our teachers, our classmates, to anyone we meet. And we can do that by being ready to help. When we're ready to help, like Aaron and her in the story we heard today, God can use us to do really awesome things. God can use us to be game changers.
Hey Aiden, you remember that time when you were lifting weights and you wouldn't let me spot you?
Yeah?
Well, you should have let me, otherwise you wouldn't have dropped the weight on your face.
It wasn't that bad.
I disagree. I think we have a picture to prove it.
Oh, I guess it was pretty bad.
See, you should have let me help you, like the guys helped Moses.
True.
I was just trying to do my part. That's why we make a good team.
You're right. Who else would I tease?
Come on, teammate, let's go get some lunch.
Sounds good.
Whoa, I don't want you to fall.
All right, man. Too far.
right.
Chill out. Chill out.
What an awesome lesson we learned today for any of us looking to be a real game changer. The Israelites would have continued to lose if Moses couldn't keep his hands up. And that's where Aaron and Hur came in. Every person on the team is important, and teamwork really matters because on God's team, players do their part. How can we each do our part on God's team? This week, we're encouraging you to be a teammate that your friends can lean on. So when someone needs help, be the teammate that's ready to pitch in. Be just like Aaron and Hur, and be like Moses too, and let your friends help you as well. All right, well, I hope you enjoyed your first look at Game Changer from KSKP. Be sure to join us next time for more memorable moments from great Game Changers. Before you go, we'd like to celebrate something awesome together from this past week, and that's XCamp. We loved getting the chance to hang out with so many of you as we learned more about being the best possible players on God's team. So, here's a recap of XCamp X Games. What an incredible week! We can't wait to do it again next year. Until then, be sure to join us next time for another episode of Game Changer.